Okay, recording. So this is the Greater Impact podcast. The reason I'm doing this podcast is just to educate my audience more on entrepreneurship, business, real estate, making a greater impact and having a bigger purpose. So if you want to introduce yourself, Jay, we'll get started.
Well, I'm Jay LeDuc. I just turned 39 years old, been into real estate investing for the last 5 years and been uh, extremely successful with it. And I want to start sharing my journey on different podcasts and with different people and see if I can make some differences in some people's lives.
Awesome. Yeah, I have a lot of real estate agent clients and people who I interact with on a daily basis. And I'll be, they watch my content and I'll be sending them some of them this directly. So I'm sure they'll get a lot of value from it. You want to quickly go over like maybe a little bit of your life story and then leading it up to when you started getting into real estate investing?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I grew up from a poorer class family. It was working class. I grew up in a mobile home and lived there for basically 17 years. And my dad was an auto mechanic, and I wanted to get into real estate because I saw things on TV, flipping shows were just starting, and but I didn't have the money. So basically, I knew I was good at automotive. I went that route right out of high school. I was good at it, and one thing led to another, and I ended up getting a bachelor's degree in business management. I got into management at an automotive dealership and started making 150,000 a year, and that was just it. I had basically 50,000 in my savings account, and then 5 years later, I still had 50,000 in my savings account. I couldn't get past that. Um, you know, I was working all these hours, and I just even making that kind of money with kids, I just couldn't get past that. And I broke my ankle in 2017, and I was out of work for a couple months, and all the income stopped. And I was like, no one's there to save you. No one's going to help you, and it was an eye opener for me that I have to do something. And I couldn't just rely on a job, a 401k. I had to do something. And I've always been business oriented and wanted a business, but I didn't want to buy a job. And getting into a business to make, six figures, that's a hard jump. And I didn't want to start from the bottom. And I eventually went to a real estate seminar, and it was a three-day seminar, and I did it, and I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm going to use the 50,000, and I had two options. I was gonna blow the 50,000 that I had in savings, and it'd be gone, or I was gonna get rich, and that's pretty much how I put it. And I said, I'm gonna go for it, and I ended up buying. I used hard money loans, and bought two houses in 1 month. And I didn't know what I was doing. And it's been a journey since then. And within a year, I had left my W-2 job, which I was in the automotive field for 18 years. So to leave that job, it was very hard. And I had doubled my income on the side doing real estate. So I made over 300,000 on the side doing real estate. And I still didn't want to leave my job. So it was really tough. But when I left my job, uh, I had so many other opportunities, uh, and I did one deal that made me 400,000 from leaving my job. I remember pulling up to the gym, and it was 11 o'clock in the afternoon, or in the morning, and I would never have been there. I wouldn't even had that chance, and I ended up going and getting a deal that netted me over $400,000. And it's just been deal after deal. And my brother's seen so much success with me where he's finally not going to do his business. He is going to do full-time real estate investor now too. So we just partnered on, it's going to be his second deal, but we just did I found a deal this morning and signed the contract, and we're going to be partners on that. We plan on netting about 100,000 on that one deal, but I probably have 8 deals in process right now that I'm working on. So
Fire, fire. That's awesome. I'm sure that's a big inspiration for a lot of real estate agents watching this, the grinding, knocking doors and doing open houses. They're like, man, that sounds a lot funner, a lot more money.
yeah, and and I ended up getting my real estate license just because I thought it would help bridge some of the gaps in the networking, and I would know that side of things. But there's a
Mhm.
big difference between a real estate agent on a retail side and investing. Investing is a different animal, and
Mhm.
most agents, uh, I'm even I had a guy looking at one of my deals today that I'm trying to help out, and he is an instructor in real estate at the local college, and he's been in the business for 30 years, and he doesn't know all the tricks and everything that investors. So I'm over here into the business only 4.5 to 5 years, and I know more than most of these agents
Mhm.
and other people know, because of how I do things. But I've probably flipped about 100 houses since in the last 4.5 years.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Really cool. What is the main type of investing that you do?
It's well, it's changed a little bit recently, but it's single family homes. I like to keep them small, 1,000, 1,200 square feet, even some 1,400, but I don't like to do them too big because the materials will sneak up on you on the expenses, and so will the labor. And I would rather I would rather flip three houses that are 150,000 and then make them worth 250 or 300 and sell them, that versus getting a house that's 400 and trying to sell it for 600, because your opportunity cost on that money starts getting limited. So you want to diversify a little bit. So recently I got into apartment syndication, limited partnerships. I have general partner all in this last year. There's a lot of tax savings in big apartment buildings where you're having a few other investors, and a couple other general partners. And I mean that's a whole nother realm, but
Mhm.
that's a way to avoid taxes. So you get a lot of the depreciation from that, and that money can, 2 or 3 times. It's the exact same thing as if you've ever heard of Grant Cardone. So I do the exact same thing as he does as well. But the whole thing is single family flipping is if you can make it a business and you can
Mhm.
make it's very scalable, and you can make 500 to $1 million pretty easily.
Yeah. I have a question because I'm a big Grant Cardone guy. So my mindset behind real estate, just because been a young hustler, still am a young hustler, um, is focusing purely on business and not having any intention of like actually being a part of like real estate investing as far as uh what Grant Cardone calls like single family home small investing, right? Like even like a fourplex, duplex, and like just investing in huge apartment buildings because that's the way to go because you're just basically starting another business or another job. But from what I'm hearing right now, it's actually opening up a new lens for me is like you could in real estate investing can be a business within itself where that is your main business, not just like investing to make some money from an investment. You're actually actively doing it to generate income like a business.
Definitely. And I mean, it took me about a year to feel comfortable that I had enough deal flow, because once you start doing deals with wholesalers who are selling you the deals and they're taking small profits, they're doing all the marketing and they're doing a lot of the hustling. And
Mm-hmm.
then I'm the action taker that takes on the risk, buys the deal, puts the contractor handyman together, and I take the risk. So I get most of the reward when I do the single family flipping. And the deal flow that comes in is enough I do as many as I want, right? I have, if I want to, some deals will come in and I'm going to net 30 grand, and some might come in and I could net 80. Well, if the 30s, if it's cheap enough and it's basic cosmetic, I'll take it on, I'll flip it in 3 weeks, and I'll put it in escrow and I'll have it sold in 2 months and make an extra 30 grand on that. And then some of the other ones, it could be 80 grand profit. It might take me, 2 months, or sometimes it's a month. But if I have a few of those going, it's a way to generate 100,000 a month where I'm not doing it as a rental. So Grant Cardone, he talks about, having single family rentals. If you just have a few and you have mortgages on it, I mean, you're putting yourself at some risk on that. So I don't have, I have a few rentals because I need the depreciation. But I do it just to generate the revenue, and then
Mhm.
I put the money into apartment buildings because you don't want to get taxed too much with too much income.
Mhm.
So when I had the job, the W-2 job, and flipping houses at the same time, I ended up paying 160,000 in taxes with both of them, and it was crazy because that was like my whole salary that I worked a whole year for
Mhm.
went away with in taxes, and I was like, how did this happen? You know, and with apartment investing and doing those types of avenues, you can depreciate. It was 100% of, and there's bonus depreciation too. Um, you can depreciate. So if you're going to pay taxes, just put it into apartment buildings. It's gonna grow 2 to 5 years at usually 2 to 3 X's. Unless you're a general partner, you can 10X your money. And that's where Grant Cardone starts talking about 10X your money.
Mhm.
Um, but that's a whole nother avenue. The whole thing is you have to make money to get to that point unless you do capital raising. Um,
Mhm.
and I like to be in control of of uh, of making the money. I don't like bringing on a lot of risk to others, and I like to it's proof of concept. So now people see me, and I have so many people that want to invest with me on my flips, and a lot of them I just do myself because if I can do it pretty fairly easily and it's straightforward, you know, I can use a lender, a hard money lender, and put down 10% on a deal on any deal and you know, pay for the expenses. You can use a couple credit cards, do the expenses, and then you get returned 60 grand in just 2 months. I mean, who wouldn't want to do that, right? So that opens avenues for other businesses. You can do other, you know, it opens doors for anything, right? And now I have, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars to put around in all these deals where I can partner with people on some flips, do some on my own, do apartment investing. You know, I have you know, income coming in all different directions, you
Mhm.
know, and it makes you feel a lot more confident and secure to make decisions on investing.
Mhm. And just to get it clear for the people who are listening, um, because I'm trying to keep up with you, it sounds like what you're recommending for people that are, because there might be a lot of different people listening, people that are already investing, just got started investing, aspiring to investing. Sounds like the process is to do it like how you do as far as flipping single family homes. And then that's going to allow you, when you have a whole bunch of extra money, to be able to invest into what you said was like apartment complexes, for like big capital put into apartment complexes. And then you say you also have a few rentals for the depreciation on taxes.
Yes.
And then your active income is from flipping those homes, those single family homes.
Yep. Exactly. So I mean, and it's if you do it right, there's a lot of active income. So you have a lot of money coming in, and you know, you got to find places to put it besides just buying, you know, expensive watches and new cars. And
Yeah.
you know, we you like to enjoy your life, and I have a couple trucks and some classic cars and different things I purchase, and if you make enough money, you can do that, right? You have to find ways to enjoy your life too. But I do like to put a lot into investments, and it's funny because I'll put all my money out into investments, right? And then just to get it to come back, where I won't sit there and say I have to have this much money in my account. I have to save this. I'll go down to like I have nothing in my account, basically live kind of like you're broke, but you're investing in all this stuff, and then it all comes back to you, right? A month, 2 months later, 3 months later, or it could be where I'll time deals where I know money's coming in on a couple deals and I'll already be putting other ones in escrow, getting ready to, you know, it's like money comes in and then it goes right back out. And it
Yeah.
just keeps growing and growing and growing.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. That's awesome. I love it. Um, and just so, because majority of my audience, I would assume for the most part, based off my data, the people are going to be watching this YouTube, because it's going to be uploaded on my YouTube. It's also going to be uploaded on my Spotify and my Apple Podcasts. Um, are normally between the ages of 20 and 25. I target people for my business relatively 25 to 35. Um, So most of them probably aren't, balling or, in the like already like investing in real estate, at least at a high level. So people that are just getting started, or because I have a friend, he's a past client of mine. He finally just invested in his first real estate deal. I saw he closed on the transaction or whatever he's posting on his Instagram story. I'm like, yeah, congrats, bro. Um, so he's just got started, and then a lot of the people I work with, a lot of realtors. I know a lot of realtors, mortgage loan officers. They might aspire to start getting into real estate investing. How would you recommend they go about that? What would your mindset be, and what would be some like tactical things that they should do?
Well, I mean, first you have to get your mindset right. But you need to start going to local meetups. You need to start, there's real estate meetups, you can search them. There should be a group that's not too far away. Um, like with mine, I went to the seminar. I went to a 3-day seminar. I ended up looking for meetups. I didn't even know what meetups was, and look for meetups. There ended up being a group of 30 of investors, and I went to the group, and I didn't know where to begin. And I wanted to flip houses. I wanted to get into it. And I'm like, I'm putting myself out there. I want to start putting myself connecting with these other investors. And I remember connecting with one investor after the event, and he's like, I flip, I think he said 10 houses a year. And I was like, that would be amazing. I just want to flip a couple. And he gave me his phone number, and I kept texting him and saying, hey, do you have time? I want to come to your office and talk to you about, getting started. And eventually, finally, he's like, Jay, come to my office. I'll answer any questions you have. I went to his office, and he's like, I told him my concerns with it. I told him, hey, I want to pay too much in taxes, this and this. He's like, Jay, you need to stop. You need to make the money first, worry about everything else later. And he's like, I can see it in your eyes. You're determined. You're an action taker. He's like, you just need to get started. What's holding you back? And I'm, of course, trying to make excuses, trying to say, I don't have experience. And I had a house prior, and I had one rental. I turned it into a rental when I was going through college, and I kind of house hacked where I had roommates, and they helped pay for the mortgage, and I had rental. He's like, you have experience with it. You just need to get started. So people need to basically go to meetups, start talking to people, start networking, seeing what they're doing. If you don't have any money, you can always get into wholesaling, and you just need to find people that are doing it and start hanging out with people that are actually doing what you want to do. And you're going to have a couple people with personalities where you connect with them. And it doesn't matter your background. I came from people tell me, they're like, how do you go from automotive and get into real estate and be good at it? Well, I dealt with people, I talked to people, I was a problem solver, and I managed a shop of 20 technicians. So when it comes to skilled construction workers, I know how to talk to them and manage them because of that. But people might have skills, sales skills, or they could work at Target and have people skills just from dealing with customers. That can help them get contracts and talk to people. And I have to deal with, sometimes I'll buy a house with tenants in it that aren't performing. And in California, it's hard to get them out. So I'll buy it if I get a really good deal on it, and I'll go and start talking to them, and there's a certain way to make them feel comfortable to get them out without going through the eviction process. And the last one I did, I paid for storage for 3 months. I had my guys go over there and help them load stuff up and help them move out and move on with their life, and paid for Airbnb, half of Airbnb for half a month to get them out. And they were happy with it. They were sometimes do cash for keys. There's all these different things than a normal business. But I have workers that have worked with me for the last 3 years, and they've never been without work. They've always had work. I've always been flipping houses the whole time
Mm.
that they started working with me. So, I mean, there's a lot more to it, and there's so much to it that I've actually started to put together a training course, an online course, and I'm paying a company to help me put it all together. And it's not cheap to do either. And
Mm.
I want to share with everyone the details that I feel that all the seminars, a lot of the books, a lot of people that talk about, I feel like they talk about the same things, and they don't talk about the actual roadblocks that I saw and I had issues with, because I'm
Mm.
an action taker. but it took me how many years to take action, right? It took because I didn't know where to take action at. I didn't know what to do. And so I want to share with people how to actually do it, and I'm helping. I just met with a couple today at my office, and I explained to them, how to get started into real estate, and it's one of those things, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I'm like, I'll help you, do all these things and help you do it. And they're still shy about it. And I'm like, it just blows my mind that some people just aren't, they're not ready. It's not their time in their life where they're just not ready to take action.
Yeah.
And until you're ready to take some action, it's like maybe you should stay at top until you're really determined.
Yeah. It's a certain type of personality trait for sure. Um, and I'm sure that's something we'll talk about because that's actually a new part of my coaching is very heavily focused on different personality types, and it could be actually useful
Yep.
for your business. So I'll offer that to you for completely free. We can talk about it more later because understanding like some people are like you and like me, entrepreneurs, decisive problem solvers, go for it. That's not 90% of people based off their personalities. And so, not everyone's built to be a real estate investor or take lots of risks or to, be an entrepreneur, or at least that's not naturally their personality. And so, maybe they're better to be a part of a team that's doing that because they need the other people that are like that versus, them being that person. Um, but I want you to shout out your course. I've been on coaching calls all day, so my computer is going to die. So we should definitely do a part two of this because I know we have a lot more to talk about. I know you have a lot more to talk about. We can do in a few weeks or next month, do part two. But I want you to shout out your course. Like I told you, you could shout out your business, your social media networks where people can find you, plug yourself so they can stay connected and reach out to you for that real estate investing course.
Cool. Well, it's right now my business is J Bice Houses LLC based out of California. I do have some other businesses as far as JNS Holding comp JNS Holding Group LLC, and I can't even think of all the other ones I have, but they're all part of my apartment, my limited partnerships, my general partnerships, and my training course is still in progress and will be out soon. And the next time we do our podcast part two, I'll have more information available, and I'll fill in the gaps for everybody of how you go from being the W two worker day job where you feel kind of stuck and you want to do more in your life to being a multimillionaire in just a couple of years.
Phenomenal. I love it, man. Appreciate having you on, and you can definitely text me everything that you just plugged, and I'll put it in the description for the podcast so
Okay,
people can definitely stay with contact with you
awesome,
there, do business with you. But it was a pleasure having you on, man. I can't wait to do part two, and I just appreciate you for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom.
awesome. All right, have a good night, man. Thanks a lot.
You too, man. Talk to you soon,
Bye
bro.
bye.
Have a good one.